100%, man. And like the issue is the RBA doesn't also understand if they see any economic weakness, historically look back at every slower economy, every recession, what's happened to oil prices? They've absolutely crashed. They've
Yeah,
crashed. You've seen like 2008 financial crisis, oil prices went to like, all-time lows. In 2020, during the pandemic, what happened? Oil prices
it went
went negative.
negative.
Went negative.
They
It
they
went
didn't know where to
negative.
put
So
it.
what are we doing here? Like, why are we
Yeah,
thinking that making, a decision based on rising oil prices, which has nothing to do with the average Australian consumer today, is going to fix inflation? To your point, they're not building enough homes. So a lot of the inflationary component today is rents, it's house prices. So there's nothing being said about, the government, not meeting the build targets. That's a whole different story. I don't think they're ever going to build that many homes, to be honest. But the issue is there's still, you mentioned they're bringing in 500,000 people a year. Now, you can maybe look to bring in that many people if, you can support them with housing, but we haven't proven we can do that. There's
yeah,
no policies tying the amount of migration coming to the country with the supply that's being created either. And we already had a massive housing shortage. So there's no accountability for the government. And you mentioned, unemployment rates are pretty low at the moment. Yes, they are. But why is that? Because the government's been spending an insane amount of money,
yeah,
especially on, sectors in the market, like for example, NDIS, that aren't necessarily lucrative, that
yeah,
aren't even providing economic growth.
yeah,
So all that spend, that's all inflationary. And the RBA isn't even talking about this. What they're
yeah,
talking about is a crisis that no one has control over. A bunch
mm,
of crazy world leaders have just, created this issue, and then everyday Australians are paying the price.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now looking at consecutive rate rises when, people are already struggling to just to fill up their car. I'm having conversations with people who don't want to go outside, don't want to drive to work anymore. They're trying to work from home
I
just
want to
because it's
save
already
petrol,
too
right?
expensive. Exactly, they want to
Yeah,
save petrol. And
yeah,
like this effect will again, in fact, impact everyone as this,
yeah,
crisis continues, as this war continues. But longer term, I'm talking not even that long term, 3 to 6 months down the line, I can bet you anything when we see some kind of solution to the war, or it doesn't even have to be a solution. The war can keep happening, but once the economy starts to weaken, all prices will decrease
yeah,
because that's a result of consumers spending less. Businesses are stopping production, and what happens then? There's no demand for oil.
yeah,
There's less demand for oil essentially, and oil will price in, um, you know, events that are going to happen 6, 9, 12 months down the line very quickly because it can see that decrease in demand, just like we've seen in the past many times.
exactly.
And instead of the IB understanding the past trends, they're just trying to think, oh my God, this is all inflationary. We can, take the blame
React.
away from everything that the government's doing and, just put it on the war.
Yeah,
So yeah, I just don't think they're ever being, proactive. They're never looking, 2 steps ahead. They're always kind of chasing their own tail. And I don't think they're making the right decision personally.
yeah,
But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But like I truly believe that the most likely outcome is they will raise rates.
mm,
And it will be the wrong move. And in a few months, maybe towards the end of the year, they'll be cutting rates again, in my opinion, because it will slow down the economy for sure.